And even Elon Musk knows that it's very fishy that she's leaving the country because he just tweeted this. The GOAT, Elon Musk, says it like it is. He is sharing this wide conspiracy that Ellen DeGeneres is actually leaving the country because the government is onto her with how close she is to Diddy.
And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location.
Word on the street is that celebrities are fleeing America left and right, hiding behind claims of an unfavorable election. But let's be real, how does that even affect them? The real tea? Many of these stars might be running because of their ties to Diddy and the domino effect his scandal could trigger. As Elon Musk cryptically suggested, this might be the end of the line for Hollywood's elite. And first up, none other than Ellen DeGeneres, who has long been a magnet for controversy. The ongoing Diddy saga could be the catalyst the feds need to piece it all together. To understand just how tangled this web gets, let's dive into the unsettling connection between Diddy and Ellen.
Many have speculated that A-list celebrities who have spent time with Combs over the years could be getting subpoenas even as we speak. And one of the biggest names now getting extra scrutiny is Ellen DeGeneres. So between 2006 and 2022, Combs appeared as a guest on DeGeneres' daytime talk show more than a dozen times.
17 times! I've been on the show 17 times!
And during his first appearance in 2006, Combs wasn't really shy about sharing private details.
I'm definitely a nighttime person.
Like what time do you stay up till?
I stay up till like maybe 6 in the morning. I'm back up at like 10:30, 11.
6 in the morning? What do you do every night till 6 in the morning? You don't go to clubs every night.
No, I mean, I make love a lot. And,
That's
Ellen,
my favorite answer ever.
Many clips of his guest spots have resurfaced recently, including discussions between Combs and Ellen about his infamous parties.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
And years later, Combs said he wanted to attend one of Ellen's parties.
I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right, not too late though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not too late. Because, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. I promise you I'm not gonna let you down on this big one.
All right,
For
good.
real.
Good.
Your shoes, your feet are gonna have blisters. You're gonna be dancing so hard.
I can't wait.
Now, the two seem to kind of dance around the apparently open secret that Combs' parties were beyond wild, with reports of drugs and multiple participants and more. And as the allegations against Combs have mounted, many have called his interviews with Ellen now creepy.
So no money on you?
I mean, it's just a little bit of money on me.
Oh, you do have money on you. Lord have mercy. Where are you going after this? It's all 20s. Where are you going after this? What are you doing?
You know what we doing, we plan to do, girl.
But I have to be clear about something. There is a difference between a wild party and something that is criminal, okay? There's a difference between having a great time and something that's an illegal freak-off. And having said that, remember when I told you about those freak-offs, right? Cassandra Ventura, as well as prosecutors, said in legal filings that people forced to participate would often have to get IV drips to recover from exhaustion and prolonged drug use. Well, in 2016, Combs appeared on stage with blue gauze around his arm and explained that he was just getting an IV drip backstage. He'd apparently arrived at the studio with it.
They said that I would have to stay. I said, no, I have to go. I said I could pull it out myself. So I walk in and I'm talking to Ellen. I have the IV and then the blood is going down. I start to panic. I go into the bathroom and I pulled it out myself and I just made it here and I love you.
I love you too.
So of course the natural question is, what was going on right before this taping? And to be very, very clear about something, Ellen DeGeneres has not been accused of anything. She is not listed in any one of the government's filings. The only reason we are talking about this now is because we are going back and looking at these old interviews, looking at these old comments, looking at these old interactions to see if potentially they could play a role in his criminal case.
She is not, and it is interesting that this is happening at a time where Ellen, as of course, there was many allegations against her and her show and her producers. Ex-staff said pretty terrible things about what was allegedly going on behind the scenes on the Ellen DeGeneres show, which was looked at as this happy, beautiful, life-changing show. So that all went down several years ago. As we know, the show ended a couple of years closer to now, and she has been so under the radar up until recently when she released a Netflix special. She's kind of calling it towards the end of her career. She's saying this is kind of like her last hurrah. She did address being quote unquote canceled in the special, and she has been on a little bit of a comedy tour the past year. But she has been laying very low over the past couple of years, which is kind of ironic that this is all resurfacing. She has not spoken out about Diddy. I can't imagine she would. I can't imagine most of these celebrities will. People that have been associated with him, such as Usher, Jennifer Lopez, Justin Bieber, of course. I can't imagine any of these people will speak up, A, because they could have been involved in something, and B, in the case of Justin Bieber, potentially there could have been instances where some of these celebrities were victims in some aspect. So I can't imagine any of these celebrities are going to speak up, and as of now, Ellen hasn't, and I don't see her doing so.
This is an impossible question.
The first eerie breadcrumb, the mysterious death of Anne Heche, officially ruled a car accident. But here's the twist. 2 other individuals close to Anne also died in car crashes around the same time. Their link? All 3 had connections to Ellen DeGeneres. Coincidence? Or something more sinister?
In 1997 is when Anne met Ellen, okay? We all know Ellen.
Have you spoken to Anne Heche at all since her accident?
If not,
Do you want to...
we're not in touch with each other, so I wouldn't know.
Now, I'm gonna insert here what I heard about Ellen.
Nothing would satisfy her soul.
What was your reaction to the toxic workplace controversy?
I felt that it was in the hands of the people who needed to speak their truth. I hadn't spoken to Ellen in years, and I feel that the stories that need to be listened to are being told. And unfortunately, the abusive environment was something that I understood. What happened was that I was, through the circumstances, shut out from things that I cared about. And in order to make her feel that she was being loved, I would erase those things from my past, such as acting, and replace them with things that I thought would give her a foundation. As we got further and further away from me being able to be in public the way that would please, I began getting further and further away from my friends and my friendships. And one of the things that concerned me very much was that I was beginning to feel shut off and shut down and shut away. And I told Ellen that I needed to have friends. She said she did not want to have a girlfriend that needed that. And that is the day I left.
Anne Heche's tragic death has become a lightning rod for conspiracy theories. And when you connect the dots, it's not hard to see why. The peculiar details surrounding her car crash, paired with reports confirming she wasn't under any external influence, leave a trail of unanswered questions. This YouTube comment perfectly encapsulates the lesser discussed angle that some believe could have been the real reason behind Anne's untimely death. Anne Heche was working with Indiana Congresswoman Jackie Walorski on a documentary about child exploitation in Hollywood. Jackie was also killed in a car accident the same week. I remember seeing Anne Heche ranting about how hard it was to get her work published. At the same time, there were helicopters circling her house. I'm sure she knew what was happening when she found out Jackie was killed. There were 2 reports from CNN. Anne was in critical condition, and then she's recovered story. Pretty wild. A simple Google search reveals an unsettling coincidence. Anne Heche and Jackie Walorski tragically passed away during the same weekend. While it could just be a bizarre twist of fate, coincidences like these often act as kindling for the conspiracy theories already surrounding their deaths. For those connecting the dots, this timing feels far too uncanny to ignore. Even more startling is the fact that both Anne Heche and Jackie Walorski died in bizarre car crashes, neither under the influence nor behaving erratically. The parallels are downright eerie, adding a thick layer of intrigue. Coincidence? Maybe. But for a lot of people, it feels like something is lurking beneath the surface, just waiting to be uncovered. It's entirely plausible this connection could come to light when prosecutors tackle side cases set for trial in May 2025. Adding another layer to the mystery, Leslie Jordan, beloved TV icon, also died under similarly perplexing circumstances around the same time. The parallels are striking, leaving many to wonder if there's more beneath the surface of these tragic events.
He was 67 at the time, and he was believed to be behind the wheel of a BMW when he crashed into the side of a building. When officers arrived, they declared Leslie dead on the scene. It was not immediately clear what killed Leslie Jordan in the crash, whether he died of the crash or a medical emergency beforehand. But it seems like the condition of the vehicle suggested that he lost control of this Mini Cooper and crashed into a building. Which I have to say, with as many car crashes that happen in LA, it's kind of hard to go fast. Like, you really can't go faster than like 35 miles per hour unless you're on a highway. So just like slamming into a building seems so bizarre to me. At the scene of the crash, black skid marks on the road show where Leslie Jordan's BMW had slammed into the building. Here's a clip of a helicopter getting some footage after this incident happened.
What's the address of the emergency?
The address of the emergency is 948 Cahuenga Boulevard, and there's a man in a four-door BMW in a gray vehicle that crashed against the building.
Are you able to get next to him?
No, sir. I'm in my vehicle. I'm just outside. There's other people trying to open the car door and to get this gentleman out.
Okay. The fire department's on the way. PDM 237. It'll be our incident 405.
Another celebrity who has seemingly left the country after her alleged associations with is Oprah. The billionaire host once crowned the queen of television. Honestly, it's not shocking look at this interview where she tells some pretty questionable things.
You're 7 years old and someone is stroking your it feels good. Right. Even though you don't have a name for what that is, it feels good.
And that was such a particularly challenging part for me.
And let's not forget Oprah's past connections with big-name figures like Weinstein and the controversial secret healer John of God. These ties aren't doing her any favors right now. With Diddy's scandal making waves, the real question is, will these tapes finally be the end of her reign, or can Oprah pull off yet another comeback? Because let's face it, even queens have their fall. But the legends, they always find a way to rise from the ashes. Years ago, Oprah spotlighted Brazilian miracle healer John of God on her show, a man who later faced over 200 charges of women. Yikes! The eerie parallels between Oprah's case and the scandals surrounding Diddy and Epstein are hard to shake off. Coincidence? Or is this one of those instances where the truth feels stranger than fiction? Either way, the optics are seriously grim for Oprah's legacy, and it's hard to ignore the weight of it all. Also, Oprah tweeted back in 2013 how she was excited to have him on the show. Oprah basically handed him a platform to clean up his reputation. But y'all, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Diddy's scandal is just Oprah's latest fallout in a long line of shady dealings. It's looking like her history of questionable connections is finally catching up with her.
Miracle worker or monster? He's known as John of God, a celebrity faith healer whose followers claim he can miraculously cure diseases such as cancer. But now, the once beloved guru is accused of hundreds of women. And that's not all. Horrific allegations of baby trafficking and have also surfaced in a case that's sending shockwaves around the world.
He grabbed my hand and he moved it behind me on his pants. And I was like, why do I have to touch your in order for me to get healing?
Last year, Dutch choreographer Zahira Leineke Maus claimed she was twice by celebrity spiritual healer João Teixeira de Faria.
He took it a step further. He penetrated me from behind. I can't even describe it.
After Zahira's bombshell interview on Brazilian television, authorities were reportedly contacted by more than 600 accusers, ranging in age from 9 to 67, who claim they were by the so-called miracle worker. Faria's accusers include his own daughter, who says her father between the ages of 10 and 14. For more than 50 years, Faria has led a spiritual center in rural Brazil, where he claims millions have flocked for his spiritual guidance or healing. From ice and evasive nose probings to incisions in the skin, John of God has performed countless unlicensed surgical procedures, seemingly with no anesthesia, on enraptured followers.
We all have the possibility in our own way to be a medium. for God.
Oprah famously visited Faria at his center in 2012 and was overwhelmed by what she witnessed.
What I just witnessed almost made me pass out.
Faria claims he channels the spirits of dead doctors and biblical figures to perform his miraculous healings. He's also known to perform psychic surgeries, invisible procedures powered by a force he calls the entity. But late last year, Faria was indicted on charges and surrendered himself to police after being on the run.
John of God was just the opening act in Oprah's controversial roster of associates. Next up, Harvey Weinstein, the Hollywood mogul and producer she had a close alliance with. Oprah didn't just know him, she was one of his public endorsers. And let's be real, that decision didn't age well. With connections like these, it makes you wonder, did Oprah unknowingly wander into a collection of villains, or is there something deeper at play?
Media outlets, especially right-wing ones, have resurfaced pictures of Oprah that she probably would prefer to keep hidden because she has been around this man for so long that really there's no way that she didn't know that this was going on. An aspiring actor who alleges that Harvey forced himself on her in his hotel room said that he used his relationship with Oprah to groom her. So Harvey would use his relationship with Oprah to go and flex on these other people and, probably make some offers that he was never going to keep. He just wanted to get them in the room so then he can go and harm them. One person told the media that they were impressed by Harvey Weinstein when they met him because he had Oprah swinging off his arm. They said, "I thought obviously this man has something amazing in store for me, especially if he's got Oprah on his side." She's the same woman who met with Harvey in his hotel room to show off her reel, but he wanted to use her for...
Oprah eventually addressed the Weinstein scandal, calling his downfall a watershed moment for women everywhere. But for many, her words felt as genuine as a reality TV confession. Why? Well, behind the scenes, she allegedly continued supporting Weinstein. Rumor has it, she even called him in jail for some pep talks. Major red flag. This move left many scratching their heads, questioning her sincerity and calling out the hypocrisy.
And it doesn't help that Harvey Weinstein's team leaked that Oprah called him to show her support for him. After allegations of his misconduct were exposed, Weinstein told his friends that Oprah called him to offer her support. This is a claim that she, of course, denies. According to TMZ, Harvey Weinstein said that Oprah encouraged him to defend himself publicly, but her people said they never spoke directly and she was only interested in talking to him for a TV interview. Okay, great, let's platform him. We're told that Harvey said that a number of powerful people have called him to voice their support, but he singled out Oprah over and over. Oprah was supposedly interested in doing a 60 Minutes interview with Harvey Weinstein, but made it clear that she was only interested if he'd look in the mirror and give her the honest truth. I don't know if we were gonna get the truth ever, and I don't think that Oprah would be able to pull it out of her good friend. And at one point she did put out a statement saying that his behavior is hideous. She said she also agrees with people who blame the enablers. I mean, we just talked about Michael Jackson and how his company is being sued because his company looked the other way when all these little boys were sent to his home, allegedly. But Oprah is an enabler. She's one of those people that he used to leverage and to get what he wanted. She actually wrote this on Facebook saying, "I've been processing the accounts of Harvey Weinstein's hideous behavior, and I haven't been able to find the words to articulate the magnitude of the situation." AKA she doesn't want to say much more. She did share this one quote. "This is the story of one predator and his many victims, but it is also a story about an overwhelming systemic enabling. And until that story is fully told, we will fall far short of stopping future depredations on a similar scale." And again, that's another way of Oprah kind of acknowledging the situation, but trying to paint it as a bigger picture.
Comedian Bill Burr didn't hold back either, calling Oprah out for playing possum during the Weinstein fallout. His point? In Hollywood, no one's just friends for no reason. Oprah couldn't have been blind to Weinstein's behavior, and that takes her polished persona down a few notches. Burr's remarks have a lot of people rethinking how innocent Oprah really is.
Now, the whole thing was annoying, and I hated how Oprah was interviewing him and acting like she was dumbfounded that this guy would do this. Like, she's been in show business for 35 years and she can't wrap her head around some guy doing whatever it takes to get to the next level. Didn't she for the first 5 years have midgets who wanted to bang their mailman's boyfriend? And she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it, but she didn't have the power to say no, so she wrote it out. And then when she could make a good decision, she did a show. But she stood on the heads of those little people for 5 years until she got, and then she's sitting there across from this guy like, so how could you know exactly what he's doing. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Diddy's story wouldn't be complete without mentioning his partner in crime from day one, Jennifer Lopez. Back in the 90s, she allegedly played a key role in helping him sidestep charges for a nightclub shooting, reportedly shifting the blame onto rapper Shine, and even acting as a gun mule. Fast forward to today, and with the feds circling back to her involvement, J-Lo has conveniently jetted off, seemingly to dodge the consequences.
There's a lot to unpack in Lil Rod's lawsuit, and several celebrity names that are dropped too, like Prince Harry, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo brings us back to that 1999 nightclub shooting, which investigators may soon take a closer look at. Here's what Lil Rod's lawsuit says, quote, Mr. Combs shared that he was responsible for the shooting in the nightclub in New York City with rapper Shine. Mr. Combs' girlfriend at the time, Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, carried the gun into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. Another huge name that was dropped in this civil suit is Jennifer Lopez, or J-Lo, who was dating Diddy at the time, and according to Lil Rod's lawsuit, she carried an illegal firearm that was used in the shooting. Now, she was charged at the time, but then those charges were dropped. What does all of this mean for J-Lo? Is it possible that the feds are already talking to her?
It's absolutely possible, and I would say you would have to. Now she may, divorce herself of the whole thing and say, no, I don't remember, I wasn't there, it never happened. But yeah, she's accused of not only carrying the gun into the club for Diddy, but then once the altercation happened, handing Diddy the gun that he then used in the shooting, allegedly. So she would certainly be on the witness list to talk to, take a statement from her, see what her recollection is, see what her attitude is. And she'd be somebody that they would be very interested in speaking with.
So it's possible J-Lo is talking to the feds about what's happening now, but it's also possible that an investigation into the 1999 shooting is reopened. For those unfamiliar, it happened on December 27th, 1999 at about 2:55 a.m. A fight broke out at a nightclub in New York City between Diddy, Jamal Barrow, known as the rapper Shine, and this guy, Matthew Allen, who went by the nickname Scar. Guns were drawn and 3 people were shot. No one suffered any life-threatening injuries, and the victims were not involved with the fight. But that's where we get these famous mugshots of Diddy and J-Lo, because they were arrested in connection to the shooting. J-Lo's charges were dropped, but the charges for Diddy and Shine held up. Some witnesses say they believe Diddy was responsible for the shooting, but it was Shine who faced the more severe charges, 3 counts of attempted and criminal possession of a weapon. Both Diddy and Shine went to trial, where Shine maintained he acted in self-defense. Diddy was acquitted, but Shine was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was released in 2009 and deported to his home country of Belize.
Natalie Berner, the woman who took a bullet to the face that night, recently shared her firsthand account of what really went down. Her testimony paints a vivid picture, and if J-Lo ever faces indictment, Natalie could be the smoking gun that lands her in jail.
I appreciate you. So during the trial, people have this misnomer. I see people try to gaslight survivor victims online. There's this whole, well, why didn't you say anything back then? I always say, Gen Z and Gen Alphas sit this out. Go that way. I did. I absolutely did. I was a star witness for the trial. I told the EMT. I told my sister who I called from the hospital. I told the doctors. I told the surgeon. I told everybody what happened to me and who did it. Puffy shot me in the face. During the trial, of course, there was a long period of investigation. I got shot December 27th, 1999. The trial didn't take place till 2001. And it was a relatively 7.5 week trial. During the trial, a lot took place. Agendas were already afoot. I mean, even from the very day that the shooting took place, because if you notice their mugshots, only Shine truly has a mugshot. Puffy and J-Lo, Puffy's in front of a concrete wall, J-Lo is in front of a bulletin board in some old t-shirts. Now, I want everyone to think that was the night of the shooting. You don't think at Christmas time, Puffy and J-Lo went out in some old raggedy t-shirts, right? No, there was already a agenda afoot to conceal what they had on, to try to sway the minds of people, to throw your memory off, but they couldn't throw my memory off. During the trial, I testified in the trial. Johnny Cochran questioned me for time immemorial, for so long. Eventually, he put his hands on his hip, let out a deep sigh, flipped back his jacket pockets, and went over to Ben Brafman and put his hand on his shoulder and said, "You give it a try," because they could not impeach me. See, this memory, like it is today, December 27th will be 25 years, is as rock solid as the night it occurred.
Not to interrupt, but that's a pretty big accomplishment to get Cochran. He was damn good.
Absolutely. And he literally looked at me like, whew, what measure of woman is this? Because he could not impeach what I was saying, because here's the deal. I don't need to add anything to my truth. The truth is the truth. Puffy, who is, in my opinion, a narcissist. And he wanted to make sure he didn't have to go to jail. And so whoever had to take the rap for him, remember, they initially arrested the limousine driver, Wolf, Shine, and Puffy, and J-Lo. J-Lo, for some strange reason, look at them. You think they went out on Christmas like that? You see the outfit underneath J-Lo's outfit? Not for 1 second did they leave their house looking like that. You've never seen pictures of them dressed like that. But the agenda to deceive people was afoot from day one, from as soon as the incident occurred. Someone handed them t-shirts to put on. And the detectives in the podcast said there was a famous cop. You've heard of the hip hop cop squad. There's a famous cop that was the preeminent detective in the squad from back in the days, Derek Parker. They admit that Derek Parker was kicked out of the hip hop police because he slid Puffy a cell phone while he was in the jail cell in Midtown North. The cops that investigated this was Midtown South. They ran so far from the police in the Navigator, they made it all the way to the confines of Midtown North, and they were in the police cell, and they caught Derek Parker sliding Puffy a gun. They ended up throwing him out of the unit. I can only imagine that's where they got the t-shirts too.
So did J-Lo have it in there, do you think? Because that's always what they're saying, is that she was the mule, right? She was hiding it in I don't know, the coat, the purse. What do you think happened?
The cops said the only two people that were not searched were Puffy and J-Lo. And anybody from the neighborhood, the hood, the whatever understands from thug movies, when guys if a guy presumes himself to be searched, he gives it to the woman to hold. Nobody's going to search J-Lo. They were the only two that went in unsearched. She brought the gun in the club, and this is according to the police, Little Rod's complaint for his lawsuit, and what we know from life. She brought that gun in, not the least of which is, you will hear the cops tell a story of when they were fleeing from the police in the Silver Navigator, there was a gentleman sitting in his car. He was a driver for escorts. He said he watched the Navigator fly down the block and the rear passenger window opened and a slim, light-skinned white hand threw a gun out of the car and it landed out of the window and it landed on top of his car. That's in the original documents and everything, in the trial transcript and everything. I don't know why they let J-Lo off. They tried to flip her, the cops said, and make her a witness. But she threw the gun out of the window and it landed on the hood of the guy's car.
Next up on the list of celebrity escape artists, the Oscar-winning legend Leonardo DiCaprio. Remember that 73 Questions interview with Diddy, where he casually spilled that Leo was a VIP at his parties?
Yeah, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And I can get on that list,
yes,
right?
Without a doubt, you are invited.
Well, guess what? Word on the street is that Leo has officially dipped to Italy. Yep, you heard that right. Sure, Leo's no stranger to jet-setting around Europe, but insiders are saying this isn't just some casual getaway. Nope, it's looking more like a calculated long-term move. It's almost as if he's executing a well-planned escape route, just as the feds are piecing together the tangled web that connects him to Diddy.
Hell of a thing. They're saying Leonardo DiCaprio has fled to Italy to avoid the P. Diddy debacle. Put it up full mass. I want to remind people of a clip that's now resurfacing from Diddy. Here it is.
And the white party's coming back this year, by the way, for charity.
Yeah, it's great to hear, and I'm sure that's probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And I can get on that list,
Yes,
right?
without a doubt, you are invited.
That is so generous of you. Cheers to that.
See you at the white party.
All right, I'll put the picture back up. Now, this is going to be an interesting background. So Leonardo DiCaprio's connection to the music industry continues to follow him. His history in particular with Sean Diddy Combs. Despite being on vacation, fans still remind him of his ties to the entertainer and business exec. Although there are no allegations currently against DiCaprio. Some social media users are still taking the opportunity to troll for his association with Combs. There's a series of paparazzi snap pictures of the actor in Italy with his girlfriend, calling it a family affair. The Instagram profile said the 49-year-old was joined by his mother, stepdad, and the mom of his lady. It appears that the Django star has been working overtime to distance himself from Combs over the last month, despite there being no evidence presented that he did anything wrong, but had a legal good time. Reports are saying he is doing everything he can do to play down his connection to Mr. Take That, Take That.
And the Leo-Diddy connection? It's not just about their infamous party antics. Diddy's empire has long been under scrutiny for potentially being built on dirty cash. There's chatter about links to scandals like 1MDB, which the US government has already blown wide open. And let's not forget the persistent rumor that Leo used questionable funds to help bankroll the Wolf of Wall Street. Sure, he dodged the feds 8 years ago, but with their renewed interest in Diddy's financial dealings has gotta make you wonder, is Leo's old escape plan enough to keep him in the clear this time?
Talk about dirty money. Was Leonardo DiCaprio's film The Wolf of Wall Street financed with cash embezzled from Malaysian government fund 1MDB? That's what U.S. federal investigators want to know, and representatives of the Hollywood actor came out publicly Tuesday to say DiCaprio has been cooperating since July, as soon as the allegations surfaced. DiCaprio is entangled primarily because of his personal and professional relationships with Malaysian financier Joe Low and Riza Aziz, the stepson of Malaysian Prime Minister. Aziz is head of Red Granite Pictures and came up with the over $100 million needed to get DiCaprio's and director Martin Scorsese's film made. Money, global investigators now believe, was diverted from 1MDB. Low and Aziz also gave DiCaprio a $600,000 birthday gift, Marlon Brando's 1955 Best Actor Oscar statuette for On the Waterfront, and the men partied with DiCaprio at several lavish parties around the world. Low went on a $1 million gambling spree in Vegas with DiCaprio, bought a house very close to the actor's Los Angeles home, and allegedly used over $1 million of embezzled funds to buy art from a charity sale the actor hosted at Christie's. The Justice Department is now in the process of seizing luxury real estate, artwork, and other assets purchased with allegedly stolen funds from 1MDB by a cast of characters including Low, and has issued subpoenas to several Red Granite employees and a bank and accounting firm it used. The comments from DiCaprio's camp come after a rainforest charity, Switzerland's Bruno Manzer Fund, called on the actor to explain his ties to the alleged fraud or step down from his UN position as messenger of peace for climate change. DiCaprio's spokesman says the actor is actively seeking to determine whether he or his charitable foundation had received any gifts or charitable donations directly or indirectly related to these parties, and if so, to return those gifts or donations as soon as possible, saying he continues to be entirely supportive of all efforts to assure justice is done in this matter and is grateful for the lead and instruction of the government on how to accomplish this. Aziz and Red Granite deny any wrongdoing. The Malaysian Prime Minister also denies wrongdoing and has been cleared of any crime by the Malaysian Attorney General. Low has not commented on the allegations. A source close to DiCaprio says the actor and Low are no longer in contact.
So what do you think? Will the feds be ready to greet these celebrities with handcuffs when they return? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any new content. Until then, fam, keep it real.